Hey everybody, Cooking with Kelly. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's been a little while since our last video, but we are fixing to throw down lasagna. All the good stuff you're gonna need. We've got hamburger meat, we've got eggs, we've got mozzarella cheese, we've got a little bit of Parmesan cheese, we've got cottage cheese, we've got noodles. Over here we got a little bit for the vegetable lasagna, some portobello mushrooms, squash, zucchini, and a bell pepper. And then also some ragu sauce. Sorry if you thought we were making homemade sauce, but my whole plan is always to do what is quick and easy. All right, I've got a couple of boxes of noodles, and as I get my noodles out, I'm gonna kind of get an idea how many that I need. Now, it depends on how many layers you're gonna make. In a smaller pan that doesn't have very high sides, you're probably gonna do a couple of layers. Bigger pan like this, I'll do 3 layers. And when I start setting these noodles down in here, I can see that 3 fit really good. I'm going to overlap those a little bit to make sure I've got 4. So 2 layers, that's going to be 8. And 1 more 3rd layer, that's going to be another 4. So I've got those. Grab this little pan because I'm going to make this one for home. Actually going to give one of these away tonight. This one is really a good 3 noodle pan. You can see that the way across. So 2 layers on that one. And then we're going to do this little narrow one that's just going to be 2 layers as well. And this one is going to be the vegetable lasagna. 1, 2, 3. It's really 3. I can do 4. So I'm going to do 4, 4, 8. And I'm always going to throw in a couple, 2 or 3 extra noodles just so I've got plenty in there. That gives me an idea how many noodles I need to boil. A lot of people will use those good old oven-ready noodles. I've had lasagna places where those oven-ready noodles just never soak up the right amount of liquid to get those things to where they're not hard and crispy. You do this, make these al dente, boil them just a little bit, and get them ready, and you're gonna have some fantastic lasagna. So I'm gonna throw these babies in the pan, get them boiling. We're gonna start our hamburger meat, get that cooking, and then I'll show you each step of the process of what we will make. And then we're going to throw it all together, and I promise you, it'll take you less than an hour. It'll take you longer to cook everything than it will to throw it all together. Then you can stick this pan of lasagna in the refrigerator, keep it till in the evening. You can save it for the next day, whatever you want to do with it. Pop that baby in the oven, and all you're doing is heating it up and getting it ready to go. It'll still take you, because they're thick, if you stick it in the fridge, it's going to take you probably 45 minutes in the oven. Otherwise, once we get this baby made and you just toss that in the oven, everything's already somewhat warm. You just want to be able to get all of the ingredients to marinate a little bit into those noodles and make it delicious. So, here we go. And I know some of you have watched some of my other videos, but I take this potato smasher. I've just always done this with my hamburger meat. This will ground that up good and fine. I do that with taco meat. I do it with lasagna meat. I don't need it real big and thick. I'm just going to go through there and chop all that up. All right, so I put all of the hamburger meat that I've cooked into a bowl. Taking a jar of ragu. I use traditional, old world style. I don't like the chunky or anything like that. So I'll pour that in there, and I'm going to mix the hamburger meat and the sauce up really good. I'm going to have a lot more meat in here than I do sauce because I'm making a pretty big lasagna. And as you can see, this is nowhere near thick or runny enough, so I'm going to take another jar. I've got plenty of them. Pour the whole jar in there. I'm going to throw a little water in this jar, shake it up, and get all of the sauce out. You want this to be runny enough that you are able to put it over the noodles. The noodles will soak up some of that liquid, so it's always good. I'm going to set that off to the side, and we're going to go on to the next step. I use cottage cheese because it's quick, it's easy, it's less expensive. I usually will sometimes buy the low fat. This is a 4%. Small curd. This one is a 24 ounce, so you'll need 1 of these. You'll put it in a bowl. And I usually end up, if I'm making a big pan for a family, I'll use 2 of these, and with each one you've got to have a couple of eggs, so I'm going to put a couple of eggs in here. This one, since we are making this for a little bit larger family, there's going to be 3 eggs that go into this one. And you're just going to mix those right into that cottage cheese. Alright, and the other thing that's going to get added in this is some parsley flakes. And I'll put just a generous amount of those on there, and as I get to mixing this up, making sure that there's just a little bit of that green that you can see mixed all around. Okay, so as you can see, we've gotten 3 noodles across the bottom. I put a little bit of sauce in the very bottom to keep them from sticking to anything. And the way this layer is going to go is, first is going to be your cottage cheese layer. We're going to take some spoonfuls of that. I'll put 2 or 3 on there, and then I'm going to thin it out across there. You don't want it real thick, but you don't want it real thin. You want to be able to see your noodles a little bit, but you just get it spread across there. Next layer will be your mozzarella cheese. You just take a good little handful of that, spread that on there. This is pretty thickly shaved, so that's going to go there. The next layer is going to be your hamburger mix. I'll take a couple of spoonfuls of that, and I just kind of toss it on the top a little bit, put a little bit in the 4 corners, and then I'm just going to lightly spread that around to make sure that I cover it all. Looks like we've got it covered. You can put a little bit extra, sometimes I'll put a little bit extra down in the middle of it. That looks pretty good. And then we're on to adding more noodles. That's 2 layers right there, and normally that's about all you can do. I'm going to put just a little bit more sauce on this one because this pan is not deep enough for me to go for another layer. A little extra sauce on the top of that. I'll take another little handful of some mozzarella cheese and kind of sprinkle it around on there, but what really goes on the top is going to be your Parmesan cheese. And what really goes on the top is going to be your Parmesan cheese. Just sprinkle that across the top of this. And if you are going to make it and put it in the oven right now, you just go ahead and stick that in there at 350 degrees until that cheese all gets melted on the top and it's all bubbly. There is a quick and easy. Hey, all right, guys, cooking with Kelly. I appreciate today. So we made a gigantic lasagna that's going to go to some friends. This thing is loaded. It's going to have a tray underneath it to keep it from bubbling over. That one is a 3-layer lasagna. And then we've got one that gets to stay home with us, and this is just a 2-layer lasagna as well. And because of the meat sauce, it makes it a little bit thicker. This one's a little bit thinner, a little bit further down. So, on a normal scale, you'd probably make it in a pan about like this. This baby right here is a 8 by 11.5, 2-quart. You want one with a little bit deeper size, but if you just do a 2-layer, it'll fit in there. Alright, so for your own family, what you're going to need is just a jar of ragu sauce. This one is about a 2-pound, 45-ounce jar. I just use traditional. And then you'll need the cottage cheese. This one is a 24-ounce. I usually end up with a 24 and a 12-ounce. For my own family, you'll have about 8 noodles that you'll need to cook. You may want to cook some more if you want to do more than 2 layers. But for 2 layers, 8 noodles, you'll need about 2 pounds of ground beef. You'll fry up your ground beef, put the sauce with it, put that off to the side. You'll take your cottage cheese, you'll mix your 24 and 12 ounce together, 2 eggs, and you'll sprinkle in some parsley. Mix that up, you get your bag of mozzarella cheese, and then you begin to start layering it. So that is the easiest, quickest way to make lasagna. You'll stick that in a 350 degree oven. If you put it in right after you get done making it all, it won't take but probably 20 minutes for the cheese on the top to really get melted and start to look ready to eat. Otherwise, if you put it in the fridge, you're probably going to have to let it cook for about 45 minutes. Great, quick, easy lasagna. People will think you took a long time to get this done. I would say probably in about 30 minutes, 45 at the most. I got all of this put together and we're good to go. So hey, thanks for joining me today. Quick and easy lasagna, cooking with Kelly.